Hi, I'm Cara. I'm here today with David at COTE, and he is showing me their steak omakase.
From ordering the steak omakase, we want to take the customers into a journey, be able to offer a whole array of cuts that really speaks for itself.
How would you say it compares to a sushi omakase?
Sushi omakase starts with a leaner fish, goes into a slightly fattier, more flavorful. I think we've created that with our aging process. Whether that be wet aging, which is our prime cuts, and then we roll into our dry aging that really brings out a lot of flavor. And the final note that we're gonna hit is butteriness, the super flavorful Wagyus. This way you can have every bite hot coming off the grill instead of having a whole steak.
You're gonna show me how to set up all the steak for the omakase.
First, we're gonna start with the tenderloin. So what we do especially for the omakase, we try to take the best part.
That's beautiful. Is this aged at all, or is this fresh?
No, this is fresh. And we start with no dry age because it really gives us what a beef tastes like.
And then you ease people into the
and we take them through the journey.
Okay.
For the omakase, we try to carve this a bit nicer. Try to make it into like a petite fillet. Carve it around. So from here, we lay it flat. And then just carve a little bit on this side and work into making a circle. And this becomes the first cut.
Okay, skirt.
The next cut, I think this is the one that you might not be happy about. In Korean culture, skirt steak is served cutting with the grain.
Why?
So normally, if you cut against the grain, you expose the muscles in it. But here, by cutting it with the grain, it's like having a meat pocket. Seals both ends, and then once it's cooked, it gets really plump and all the meat juice gets trapped. So I call this the most underrated cut for me. People don't like skirt steak very
they
often.
think of it as being something you marinate and like that needs to be really manipulated.
But it really has a great flavor once it's cooked this way too. Next, we're gonna go into our dry age cuts. So what we're gonna do with this one, we're gonna carve this out. We're gonna serve the eye first. And we're gonna separate the muscle, and we're gonna serve the cap.
How long are these aged for?
These are 45.
And you're aging them here?
They're coming fresh, and we're aging them in our dry aging room. This is off the menu cut. We call it the finger meat, because it kind of looks like a finger. It is a little funky.
This also smells so different. This smells like cereal, like grain.
Really does.
It's really delicious.
That's what they eat, you know.
Exactly, yeah. Where did you get the idea to serve this part?
So actually in Korean butchering, there's a name for this cut. It's called 늑간살, and it's very prized and it's only kept for the owners of the shop, and very flavorful cut. Then the next one, we're gonna go into a real funk.
Oh, good.
It's about 110 days.
Whoa.
So if you want to sniff it, it's completely different.
I've never smelled anything like that. It's like not, it's weirdly not funky. It's like,
but it's like cheesy, right?
It's cheesy, but it's also kind of like a super overripe melon.
Okay.
At what point do you think it doesn't help the meat?
I think once it goes over like 120, and I think that's it. You know, now then you're just building funk instead of flavor. And now we're gonna move into some of the prettier cuts. So this one is the American Wagyu, chuck flap tail, and we call it here the COTE steak. It's our signature cut.
It literally feels, it's like sticky like butter.
It's, you know, the marbling is completely different from what we've been cutting. And then that'll be the next cut.
And it's great too that you're cooking it at the table, because like, if these were all to show up cooked, you wouldn't get the magic of...
And I think visual is very important.
Yeah.
So this is Japanese Wagyu A5 from Miyazaki.
Okay.
We get it maybe once or twice a week, depending on how busy we are. It comes straight from Japan.
So nice.
And then...
Oh my God. And the entire thing is just so firm.
And I'll let you do the honor.
This I'm so excited about. I've had American Wagyu, but I've never had
First time?
Yeah, I've never had real Japanese Wagyu.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we're gonna do one more.
Okay.
Because this is the one that we're gonna finish with. So this is the Korean marinated short rib, right? And what we're gonna do is gonna slide this down the middle. The marbling is still very
gorgeous.
Beautiful, but, you know. And this is a technique in Korean cuisine they use a lot to do the ribs. And we call it the diamond cut. But this isn't just cutting. So you cut and you kind of push away.
Oh.
And we're tearing up the muscle so that the marinade can really seep into the beef. Kind of like push away.
It's very relaxing actually to watch.
And then we're gonna flip this over. We're gonna do the same thing. And you already see the little gaps happening.
Yeah.
And if it's done right, you'll be able to kind of shake this up and I can kind of see you.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It stretches out like this and we dunk it into the marinade for like 6 hours plus and it'll really be able to seep into every little corner because it's got openings in every different. So if you want to try it out.
I don't know if I'm like
No, it's
scared
okay.
to because this is such beautiful beef.
Yeah. Yeah, you feel it?
Yeah, I feel it. It's so different.
This is not what you're used
No,
to.
but now I'm gonna do this at home. I did it,
She's a pro.
but I can see you through it.
See it?
Yeah.
This is the marinade. And we're gonna let this sit overnight and it'll be ready. And I think we're ready to
We're ready to go
have this
eat.
go upstairs.
I cannot wait. Will you take me through what everything is?
Sure. So if you ordered omakase here at COTE, you get all the fixing. We have a bunch of pickles. This is chayote and jalapeno, cauliflower and garlic scape, julienne daikon, cucumbers with turmeric, Korean radish kimchi. I think you guys saw the big black sands of daikon that's been cut. Scallion salad, cabbage kimchi, and this is a dipping sauce for the meat called samjang. And then the lettuce is meant to be eaten like a lettuce wrap.
So will you tell me a little bit about this grill?
Our grill, it's from Japan, it's called Shimpo, and they're known for their technology of like downdraft system.
What is the base in here?
We have a plate that's ceramic that mimics the radiant heat, heats the meat more evenly, giving it a better crust. Once it's hot, the way we find where the hot spot is, we rub the grill with the grease and the hot spots will start flaring a lot more than the rest.
Oh my God, it smells so good. This is dry-aged beef fat that you're using to flare the grill. It's amazing.
You see the flames going into the...
Yeah, I can see it going into the holes. That's crazy. What's the history of this method of cooking?
Asian culture especially is all about like communal dining. I didn't have steakhouses growing up, so this was the closest thing to eating steak back in Korea. You order a piece of meat or a bunch of different cuts and you're all together talking about your daily lives and just parents are getting drunk, the kids are having a little fire festival down here and that's how it was. We're starting with the tenderloin, so we're gonna salt just a little bit.
Wow, it gets so nice and brown.
Yeah.
So quick.
And then one key for the service staff is to check for the juice that seeps out from the meat. The hardest part for us is to teach the servers how to cook.
Because that's not generally how, usually you just have to serve.
Almost ready. It's crisp on the top, bottom. This is like the first time actually sitting down to eat.
Really?
Yeah, since we opened.
Oh my God. Okay, that is incredible. It's so like clean and minerally, and you can taste just a little bit of the smoke from the fire.
I'm gonna put the skirt steak. Before it seemed a little flat, a little thin, but now
They're plumping full of juice.
I feel like this guy is ready.
Yeah.
So it's a little toothsome, but it definitely has a lot of...
I like a steak with a little bit of a chew. It's meat. It's a little bit weird when it's like too soft.
Too soft. And many
is
times
delicious.
it has great flavor when it's got a slight bite
It's
to
working
it.
harder, the muscle's working harder.
So the next cuts we're gonna do the dry age together. You can really tell the difference.
And these are the 45 days.
45. Personally, like cooking with fire is like a primitive nature for us, and I think this really brings a different level of like dining, interactiveness. Working the grill station, I feel like it really drives you to another level.
I'm so excited about the cat. Wow. The flavor of that is incredible. It's so nutty and funky.
In a good way. Once we taste the extra age, it really goes well with the kimchi.
Yeah.
The funk and the acid from the kimchi kind of like complements instead of like counteracting, really builds another layer of depth.
You would think the fermented meat and the fermented vegetable would be like overkill, but somehow like brings out the notes.
These acidic side dishes really help you eat a bit more.
Because if you're at a regular steakhouse, you're like plowing through a porterhouse steak, and the only interruption is something like a buttery mashed potato.
This is called the finger meat here at COTE.
And this is gonna be pretty funky.
This is gonna be funky.
That's what's so cool about cooking with fire is that you're always having to adjust and move things, and it's not a passive cooking process.
It's never the same, right? And not one steak cooks the same either.
This one I taste the
flame.
the smoke and the flame most of all, probably because it was like flaring the most. And there's like crispy bits of fat. Okay, so this one I should do a lettuce wrap with.
Add some of the sauces. It's funky, but a lot of acidity. And the sauce brings a lot of flavor.
So this is the 100-day. It's amazing the way this progresses. You guys must have put a ton of thought into where you want to start and how you want to finish.
I feel like we want to take the customers into a journey. Like this one's ready.
Thank you.
And this one is really,
funky.
the boss.
Wow. My mouth is watering. It smells fruity. Whoa. It tastes like overripe melon. And cheese. That's not what I was expecting at all. I know dry aged meat, and like I've tasted a lot of it. I've never tasted any that tastes
What was
like
the
that.
oldest one that you've ever had?
I think around 100 days. That's like no meat I've ever tasted. That's the perfect bite.
We can keep going, right?
Let's keep going.
All right.
Should I
Yeah.
flare the grill? Here's a hot spot. That's fun.
So next we're gonna go into American Wagyu.
This is the chuck ribs.
Yeah, it's the boneless ribs from the rib bone 1 through 3. In Korean, it's called gotsal, like our restaurant name COTE, which also translates into flour in Korea.
Oh.
And they call it the flour steak because of the marbling. It really looks
Yeah.
like a cherry blossom. A lot of people choose medium rare over other temp, but I feel like going into medium really brings out the flavor, and it renders the fat a little bit longer.
There's fat and there's connective tissue. It tastes like buttered popcorn.
It really does, right? You know, it's crunch on the outside, it's super buttery on the inside. And then the next two cuts is the Japanese A5, and we'll cook it together just like we did with the dry age to give it a comparison.
I'm just feeling so incredibly lucky that I get to eat this.
Like this one, like you say, it's gonna start flaring up because all the grease is gonna start melting.
Well, that's what's so cool about this process. Like, it's just always changing. You're adjusting to every single steak and every cut and every age. Steakhouses are my favorite places, but you never get to sit here and watch your steak cook.
And it's always coming out on a sizzling platter.
Yeah, always totally hot. Oh my God.
I don't know, this is going real fast now.
Oh my God, this is getting crazy.
There's one. Let's set that aside.
I'm nervous. Oh my God, but you don't even have to chew it. As soon as you bite it, like all the juice. Wow. I don't even know what to say.
Super rich, you know, it's
so
buttery.
rich. It's coating my entire mouth. Completely different than the American Wagyu. So much more tender. I wonder, like, why that is.
They get fed like beer,
I
they
was
get
gonna say.
massages, you know? And then the char really brings it out too.
Yeah, because it is so mild that it needs some of the fire flavor to like amp it up. It's like a marshmallow.
This is tender, but it's got the different, the muscle structure.
There's more like differentiation between the fat.
If you had to choose between the cap and the eye.
Me personally, I would choose the cap.
I like the cap.
Yeah.
It's because this actually feels like a steak, whereas the first bite felt like I don't know, maybe fried butter or something.
Yeah, totally. This is my favorite.
Out of all.
Yeah. I don't feel disgusting, which usually I do after I eat at a steakhouse.
I think this is probably my favorite finish because it just, from all the richness that we just had, this really clears it up. Here is our heritage, our root, that this is a Korean steak.
I love that.
And then this one, we actually cut up on the grill so that every corner gets some sort of a caramelization. And they kind of toss this around, roll it around so that we try to hit as much surface area as possible so that you get that slight caramelization from the marinade. I still remember growing up, this was like the favorite of all the cuts because as young kids, you want to eat meat, but you don't want anything too funky or too lean. You want something sweet that is flavorful, and this was always the go-to.
And I think that's so nice that you're bringing that here as the sort of the anchor and the final thing.
It really is part of us, and we try to translate it as best as we can to fit New York and the clientele that we have. Cheers for the whole journey of Omakase.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
Right?
And the marinade made it so tender. I want to eat this for the rest of my life.